Welcome to the podcast by Amada. I'm your host, Joe Amada. And today we have a special guest with us from the adult industry. She is the Pornhub Amateur of the Year for 2016. Please welcome to the show, Cameron Canela. How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, doing well, doing well. Hey, how did you get into the industry, and can you recall your first experience?
So I kind of started a little bit uniquely compared to like most people that you know these days. So originally I was just actually a porn fan. I, would of course log on to Pornhub, find a video, do my business. But one thing that I struggled with when I was, trying to have my personal time was how long it would take me to find a video that I actually wanted to watch. Because there's, obviously so much on Pornhub. So I discovered Janice Griffith, and I liked that because I could basically type in her name in any one of her videos. I was happy to watch.
Right.
Eventually, I ended up watching all of her porn scenes and was still interested in her. And her interviews and different more just personal Q&A kind of stuff.
Right.
And I got informed on how she got into the industry, kind of her experience, and she's one thing I really like about her is she's good at being kind of blunt and straightforward and a little bit more honest about how things are. So
right.
From her perspective, it kind of gave me an insight to kind of, discovering that porn is something that I wanted to do and was interested in starting. So it was basically just by being inspired by another porn girl who now actually is like one of my closest and best friends. So it's kind of crazy how the world turns out. But after I decided I wanted to get into porn, I, of course, weighed the pros and cons and watched multiple documentaries and movies and stuff.
Right.
But I attempted to, reach out to companies and try to get booked through the regular companies that, we all know, Brazzers, Digital Playground, Bang Bros, all those different kinds, and just wasn't very successful because if you're just submitting model agreement or model submissions, those aren't they're just not seen a whole bunch, and they're not really the way to basically be in California or figure out your own way to get noticed. So I came across just too many scammers to be their companies and asking for free auditions, which I wasn't, stupid. I'm like, there's no way you're getting anything out of me unless you're paying me first.
Right.
So
right.
It doesn't work out that way. So I was really uncomfortable after multiple attempts of just trying to go the traditional route of, getting hired through a company. There was just too many scammers and weird things that eventually one of my friends actually sent me a screenshot of Pornhub's amateur program.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I don't know about that. I'd rather, start with these companies and, that's a backup plan if it doesn't work out.
Right.
Well, I looked into the Pornhub thing and I was like, okay, let's start this way. Let's upload some videos. That way, my performance and who I am is already out there, and I'll get noticed by these companies and they'll come and contact me.
Right.
So that's the whole reason why I even got started with Pornhub. But then as I started uploading my own videos and creating my own content, of course, what I wanted to happen did happen. So I had Hustle attack me first. That was the first company. But I realized that creating my own content with Pornhub is actually something I prefer to do, and was lucky to have started in that way because it gives me an advantage in the industry where I'm not, reliant on other companies to book me for me to get my income. I control that myself and my brand with Pornhub. Right. So it ended up being this huge blessing, but it all was just kind of accident or random thing and just kind of life setting it up for me.
Okay, great. Yeah, and that's true what you said about Janice. If you follow her Twitter, she's definitely outspoken. We'll tell it how it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, based on your time in the industry thus far, is there any misconceptions about the adult industry from those outsiders that you'd wish to dispel?
Of course, there's plenty. The list went on, but there's a lot of misconceptions that have just changed because of the industry changing so much. Back in the 90s, it was more of exactly how I think people imagined porn being. You had a few megastars that shot a whole bunch, and, you know, they made a ridiculous amount of money, and that was what the industry was like. With technology changing and stuff like that, it kind of just made everyone in the industry have a different role and dynamic than what was previously known. So there's a lot more, I mean, like, of course all of us are normal girls, but we're even more of the girl next door or random just girl off the street starting porn, instead of somebody, you know, who looks like a traditional Barbie doll, and then that's the only porn star there is. So just what's in demand, I think, is different, and also just people assume that, like, having big boobs automatically makes you successful, but, you know, now I think that everyone kind of has developed a broader sense of what they think beautiful is or attractive. So we're just getting more variations. When it comes to, like, people having a misconception on what we do, I mean, it's not like, you know, as a porn star, of course everyone's different. So I'm going to speak on my experience. I'm not going to speak on other girls' experiences, right. But on my experience, you know, of course, you know, I love having sex on camera, and I'm very, like, open with my sexuality, but that doesn't mean that if you walk up to me and introduce yourself, you're automatically getting a blowjob, which
exactly.
I think that people assume that just because I am sexually open with being on camera and everything, that it just means that, I mean, like, I'm not against, you know, being a slut or a whore, whatever those names, but it's just that we don't automatically give away the product that we, you know, have to every single person just because they asked for it. You know, just because we are sexually open doesn't mean we just automatically have sex with everyone. Like, actually, for me, getting into the industry, I have significantly less sex now in my personal life and, you know, work life than I did before I got in the industry.
Right.
And that's not, like, partners wise, that's about, like, frequency. And of course, you know, getting in the industry, I have significantly more partners because of the way that it's designed, but people just think that, you know, I'm having, like, sex every single day or, like, 3 or 4 times a day. And now that it's my job, and now that it's something that I look at differently, you know, I have to hold a different responsibility to it. So it's not so open,
right,
actually.
Right. Yeah.
I guess that would be kind of one of the biggest misconceptions. Also, you know, it's shocking how many girls are in the industry but don't actually enjoy sex. There are, of course, girls that are in the industry and do. Like, I love sex. That's why I got into it. But that's something I found out just by being in it and talking to people. There's a lot of people that, you know, don't necessarily like sex but like being a performer. So it's interesting that people automatically assume, like, base our personal sexuality based off of our work.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I when I've come across fans, you know, where they've contacted me on the show, you know, and I just tell them, you know, you guys are regular people just like, you know, everyday other people. You know, don't go all crazy on them. You know, they're basically playing a fictitious character. Treat them like you would, you know, someone else. If you see them in the street, you walk up to them, you ask them for a picture, they'll say yes or no. If they say yes,
exactly.
Beautiful. You know, get your picture and then go on your merry way. Don't get all stalkerish and crazy, you know?
Well, it's actually more funny to me because I only have had somebody come up to me once ever and actually be like, hey, are you Cameron? Can I get a photo with you? And I was like, yeah, of course. You know, I'm excited for that. But I get recognized more often than I realize that they won't come up to me. I'll get, like, a tweet later being like, oh my gosh, I saw you on this flight. Was that you? Or I saw you in the mall with Janice. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, why didn't you take the opportunity, if you saw me, to come up to me, introduce yourself, get a photo, or at least just have an interaction that's, you know, not over the internet? But a lot of people are like, well, I didn't know if it was you. And this is where I think it's super funny, because you're not going to walk up to somebody and be like, hey, are you that porn star? No, you're probably going to say, hey, are you Cameron? Are you Janice? You're going to use our names.
Right.
And if I'm not that person and you ask me a name, I'm not going to automatically think, oh, you're calling me a porn star. I'm just going to be like, no, my name's not Cameron. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's so funny. People are like, well, I don't know what to say. And I'm like, ask if I am who I am.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not going to be offended. And, like, I don't know. Of course, if I'm in a, like, depending on the situation, like, if you see I'm in the middle of a conversation with somebody, don't be rude. But I never thought it would be weird for anyone to come up to me. But, you know, a lot of people have a lot of, I don't know. I don't really know what it is. I actually had, like, a friend kind of explain it to me that the reason why people probably don't come up to me as often, as they're, like, more willing to, like, tweet me later, is because for them to come up to me and ask me, like, for, you know, if I'm Cameron, that's them totally blowing the cover and like acknowledging the fact that, you know, we now know he's jerked off to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
which I get, but to me, I'm like, I assume every single person I see has. So I'm like, so I don't really look at it super weird at all. You know, either has or is going to. Eventually, you're gonna see me naked. I'm not worried about it. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of it too is just it's they, like I said, you know, they see you as the fictitious character that they just watched on TV, and they're just scared to death to approach you. To where if they would just think of you as just a normal person, walk up to you, ask that question, you know, hey, are you Cameron? You know, can I get a photo or autograph or whatever? And then after that, go on their merry way, and they, you know, you just made their day.
See, I feel like it would be more intimidating to come across me and not know who I am and then be like, oh, I want to talk to her, rather than, you know who I am, you know I'm a public figure, you know that I'm expecting this kind of interaction. Like, for me, I'm like, just come up to me, say hello. I want to meet my fans. If I see you out and about, like, first of all, I know when you know who I am, okay? Like,
Right.
it's this very obvious, it's not a double take, it's like a quadruple take, you know? Like, wait, I'm pretty sure I recognize that person, you know? I see it on your face, so I can recognize when I know that you know who I am. You might as well come up to me, at least say hello, but I don't know. I don't look at myself in any sort of way as, like, even like a pseudo celebrity or anything like that. I just look at myself as a completely normal person who happens to have a really interesting job. But
Right.
you know.
Right. Now, what's an ordinary day like for you? Like when you're not shooting, what do you usually do during the day?
Well, you're about to fall asleep with how boring this is. But I wake up, I am a stoner, so I'm typically like a wake and bake and, you know, smoke all day kind of person. But then I wake up and I make myself a list, my to-do list for the day, and sometimes cleaning things, sometimes it's just reminding myself what appointments I have, or like what projects I want to be focusing on, but I make myself a little to-do list, otherwise being stoned, you'll forget. So I just make myself a to-do list and I start checking things off. So normally it is some sort of one or two chores in the house, because I like to keep a clean house. That's just me.
Okay.
So I'll do some chores. I might go teaning, go get some food, answer emails, just do some boring stuff like that, you know, plan on what photo shoot I'm going to do next, but it's typically pretty boring. I do, and then I hang out with my dogs.
Okay.
I have 2 dogs. But other than that, I think the only thing that I do that's completely outside of work is I have like a tradition with a couple of friends that every Wednesday we go to Benihana's and just Wednesday tradition of like going out and having fun. So, but that's what I do for fun. I don't go to the strip. I don't go randomly party at a club because I think those are really boring. I go to Dave and Buster's.
Right. Now,
that's what I do.
okay. Now, who are your favorite male performer and female performers to work with are, and why?
You know, I haven't worked with a ridiculous amount. Actually, I think I've only worked with like 3 or 4 girls that are in the industry. And so it's hard for me not to just automatically say Janice.
Okay.
So Janice is definitely the girl pick, just because, I mean, it's hard not to. But boys is a little more difficult because there's some people that like I made like a great scene with, and so I'm excited about that scene, and then there's other people I like them as a person, and you know, like they're my friend. So it would be kind of more on like, as a performer, who do I like, or as a person, who do I like for the dudes?
Performer.
I'd say I just shot recently with Kieran Lee.
Okay.
He is the contract star for Brazzers,
Right.
and I honestly, I had a great time shooting with him just because, I mean, he's a great performer, so he just is great at his job, but he's really good at making sure that the other talent, so in this case me, you know, he brings out their best performance.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think that's why I liked working with him so much, is not only was it a super great scene, like our scene was super hot, our sex was hot, but he's also really good at making sure he's getting the best performance out of me as well, which I want to do. So
Right.
I appreciate that.
All right. Now, I was doing a little research. Is it true that you do scenes with some of your Pornhub subscribers?
Yes, I do. So that's, well, it used to make me unique because I was the only one that did that, and now a lot of people are following my trend, which is funny. But, yeah, so that is actually how I got started. I didn't really have scenes, and that's why it was kind of hard for me to answer the previous question. I don't work for other companies and work with porn stars as often as I actually produce my own content with my fans.
Right.
So, I used to have a few contests here and there where people had the chance to participate in those videos, but then contests over time just became really difficult for me to actually run and manage, and I had to hold the last one. It was just time. So I still do actually scenes with fans and scenes with companies. I just only accept like direct bookings only, so there's no like random opportunity. But yes, I liked doing that. That was something that I enjoyed doing. I personally like having those type of videos because I'm kind of sick of the fact that, you know, we see the same couple of groups of people have sex over and over and over and over again. Right. And, you know, the majority of men don't look like porn stars, you know? It's just, they don't. Dicks come in all different sizes, shapes, colors, so do like bodies, you know what I mean? Like everything. So for me, I wanted to try and capture less movie-like porn and more real sex with different people of all different, you know, sizes, shapes, and colors and everything, because I wanted relatable. And I think that honestly is what helped me get those videos become more successful, is that they're a lot more relatable for the average viewer.
All right.
I mean, most people don't have a 10-inch dick, so you know,
yeah, that's true.
It's kind of hard to relate to those videos. You're like, well, it looks great, but I don't like that. So you know, I think that's why people appreciate that.
Right. Now, if you were going to eat some food, would it be Mexican, Chinese, or Italian, or something others?
You didn't have to say anything other than Mexican every time.
Okay.
Like,
all right. To
the point, like, people get annoyed with me because every time somebody's like, oh, hey, you know, what do you want for food? Except for Mexican. Like, they say that because they know I'm pretty much going to suggest sort of Mexican, if not Chipotle, every time.
Okay. All right. Now, if money was no object, what would be your dream car?
I really like the car I have. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily the most expensive car. I just like it. It's perfect for me, which is a Lexus, like, crossover SUV. Okay. So the only other one that I kind of have any sort of interest in, well, okay, I'll give two answers. One, the Tesla SUV that's came out, whatever. Love that, just because I like the idea of electric cars, and Tesla's fucking cool. But if it isn't going to be that kind of car, because I already have a car that's similar, I would totally go with something different and get like a mid-60s American muscle car, specifically a 1968 Cougar.
Oh, okay.
But I'm like, specifically that. But that would be if my, like, I wouldn't have that as my only car. I would have to be a second car, because that's not a very efficient only car.
Right. Yeah, back in high school, I used to own a 70 Mustang, so that's why I put that.
Okay,
yeah,
so that's why you were cool.
Yeah. Now, how's your OnlyFans.com going for you? It's kind of a unique website.
Good. When I first signed up for it, it was like, it's very new still, and I didn't know much about it, and I'm, you know, still trying to get good at just building my other social medias. So at first I was like, okay, I guess I'll sign up, but I don't really want to, you know, commit to it or put that much effort into it. But then, you know, as I started doing it a little bit more and seeing other people sign up to it, now I see like where it's fun and more of a benefit. So I really like it. I'm starting to focus a lot more on my OnlyFans. My Twitter is starting to get restricted because it just makes more sense for me to put content on there for the people that actually want to appreciate it. Plus, I always find it's super uncomfortable. I don't know what it is about Twitter specifically, and not so much on other social medias, but Twitter has like a really, really group. A lot of people that are under 18 that follow me, and I don't like that. It's not that I'm like against, you know, I mean, it doesn't, you know, for my own protection, I only like people 18 and over to follow me, just because I'm obviously in the industry that I am.
Exactly.
But that's kind of what I like about OnlyFans now, is that I'm not going to be putting, I mean, of course nudity is going to be on the internet, so if they're under 18, they're going to find it. I'm not that worried about it. But now I have a more specific social media that I know is at least filtered more off of those people. So
Okay.
that's probably the one thing I appreciate about it most.
Okay. Now, do you have any new scenes coming out? I got here in my notes. You have something coming out for Mofos.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of scenes coming out. I've been shooting a lot lately, but that's the thing about porn. So I'll just mention that now is I might be shooting like 20 scenes within a month or two, but those scenes are going to come out over time and randomly between the next 3 months to 12 months. It just totally depends. So I have shot a lot of scenes. There are ones that I know I'm looking forward to dropping. There is one for Mofos. That one's on the 7th, I think, and it's a boy, girl. That one was really, really, really fun for me to shoot because I'm naturally more of a submissive kind of role when it comes to just like my own personal sexuality and the way that I react with people or interact, with people on set. But this one, my whole role was to be like the dominant girl and like tell them how to have. So for me to actually completely play a different role than I'm used to, I mean, that's one thing I like about being in the industry is that, you get to experience sex in a different way. So I'm excited about that. I just want to watch it. I think it's going to be fun because I'm, playing a different role for myself. So that's the Mofo scene. Okay. That one with Kieran Lee I was talking about, we just filmed, that is for Digital Playground. I don't know when it's coming out, but that was for Digital Playground. And it was kind of like a, not entirely like a 50 Shades of Grey thing, but it was kind of, giving a little bit of a wink to that kind of light BDSM control thing. So that was super fun. Okay. And then I have a bunch of content that I'm going to be dropping on my Pornhub page here really soon. I have like at least over half a dozen videos that are just slowly going to be uploaded. The next one's going to be my first ever boy-girl three-way, so that'll be really interesting. Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing how that does.
All right.
But
now, were you at Exotica in Denver?
I was actually at AVN this year in January, and I was at Exotica in Denver just a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Now, are you going to be attending the one in Chicago as well? Yes,
I'm going to the one in Chicago and the one in New Jersey for sure. There's some event going on in Columbia in like July. That I'm a little iffy. I don't know if I'm going to go to that. But the other Exoticas this year for sure I'm going to.
Okay. All right.
Representing Pornhub.
All right. Okay. Now, what are your hobbies and interests outside of the industry?
I am really into, I like muscle cars or old American cars. Those are some of my favorite things. I like going to the hot August nights that they have up there, so that'll be really fun. I guess I'm really into traveling in general. I just think that you gain a lot of knowledge and insight about yourself the more that you travel around the world and see how other people live. Right. So I would pretty much those things. Other than that, I would say I'm a coffee and weed connoisseur. I like know everything and anything there is to know about both of those things for some random reason.
Okay.
So those two things.
Yeah. Now, like Hot Dogs Nights, this coming year, you might see my best friend up there. He's got 70 CUDA convertible and a 71 CUDA convertible he's taking up there.
Ooh, that'll be cool. Yeah, I haven't been there since because I only went to Hot August Nights once. I was like a kid, like maybe 11 or something.
Right.
And I just remember seeing all the beautiful cars, but I was a kid and I still didn't even understand how cool it was. And now that I'm older, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go back. And now I live in, Las Vegas, so it's a little bit closer than living in. So I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to going.
Yeah, another thing about that too is the Barrett Jackson. Their car auction is going to be up there as well. So it's going to be.
Maybe I'll just decide to get a random car.
Yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, that's true. Now, where can if the fans want to follow you on social media and your other sites, where can they find you at?
I am Instagram, Twitter, and fans. Link for social media. My Instagram is Miss Cameron Canela. Twitter is just Cameron Canela, and then my OnlyFans is OnlyFans / Cameron.
Okay. Yeah.
I would say that I give my most focus to Instagram for sure.
Okay. Yeah. That last part kind of cut out, but what I'm gonna do is when I post this on YouTube, I'll put the OnlyFans link up there for him as well. So.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that should be it. I want to thank our guest Cameron Canela for being on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, and if you'd like, we'd love to have you back on in the future. Good luck to you in all your endeavors, and fans definitely support her and check out her new scenes that she has, and definitely check her out on Pornhub. This has been the podcast by Mata. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.